We need a key grip.
Good afternoon, everyone. So who's going to be decorating eggs next weekend? I'm also going to be. But I didn't want to go with the traditional hard-boiled eggs. I wanted to come up with something that had a little bit more flair. So I decided that I was going to make an Easter egg pinata. Over the last week, Kaden and I have been playing with pinatas to learn how to construct them. This one here is the one that Kaden and I first made, and then we constructed this one afterward. I will be sharing with you what is needed in order to do it, how to construct the base, and then finally I will give some tips on how to decorate it. The supplies that are needed to make a Easter pinata are pretty few, and most of them are already on hand in most households. You will need newspaper, a balloon, string, glue, scissors, tissue paper of different colors, flour, water, a mixing bowl, and something to mix it with. This is the balloon that I used. You can find it at almost any of the party stores that are out there. It's a 36-inch latex balloon. It blows up to 3 feet, which is about approximately that size. The newspaper you will want to cut into approximately 1-inch strips. It doesn't have to be perfect. If it's a little crooked, it's not a big deal. It's still going to work. This is just about the size that is most easy to handle, so it's not folding over and tearing. And for your tissue paper, you're going to want to cut them in about 1-inch squares. The string, you want it to be long enough to where you're going to be able to hang it from your destination tree. I used a craft cord, a 25 yards. The flour and the water gets mixed in together. It's 1 cup of flour per 2 cups of water. And you just mix that up. It turns into a pretty liquidy place. You want to make sure that you plan a large enough area to keep your project there, because you have to allow some drying time in between. So it's a project that will take a few days in order to do it. You want to cover your area with newspaper, any surfaces that you don't want stuff dripping over, because it is a very messy process, but it's a lot of fun. It's best if you have a way to hang it from wherever the work surface is. Of course, you want to have it where it's hanging to within easy manipulation reach as you're applying the paper. Once you have all the supplies in your work area prepared, then you're going to blow up your balloon and attach the string to it, and then you will take your strip of paper, dip it into your paste, and when you take it out, you're going to use a light touch to slide the excess off of it, because you don't want it to be too wet, otherwise it will tear and start to fold over on itself. Then you will just place it onto your balloon and smooth it out. You'll continue applying strips of paper until the entire balloon is fully covered. You want to try to avoid any overlapping of the newspaper or putting too many layers at a time to avoid cracking and slipping as it is drying. If you see that there are small spaces on there that need to be filled in, you can take your strips of paper and rip them into smaller pieces in order to just fill in those smaller spots. Once it's completely covered, you want to allow it to dry. You want about 12 to 24 hours for each coat. Each coat, you need about 12 to 24 hours in order to dry, and according to Associated.com, If you have very small children that are going to be using the pinata, then 2 coats is probably enough. Otherwise, you want to do about 4 or 5 coats for older children or a baseball team who's good at swinging. Now, after you have your desired amount of coats, then you get to do the decorating part, and that's fun because you get to get as creative as you want to with it. I used my color squares in order to do things like this by taking it and wrapping it around my finger, dabbing a little glue on it, and then sticking it right onto the base. And it gives you kind of the little flowery look or a bit of a grass look. I also took the flatter squares and just took a paintbrush, dipped it in glue, put it on a small area, and then just placed it on there completely flat. And then I wanted to add some streamers, so I just cut these into the strips, put some glue right here on the bottom, and just placed them on. After you allow that to dry, then you can cut a hole into it, kind of like a flap, where it just opens and closes so you can place the candy in, and then it will be filled, and it's ready for party time. You can also use paint or glitter or sequins in order to decorate it. Painting is a lot easier to do it than the tissue paper. The tissue paper can become pretty time consuming. So if you're trying to do something a little bit quicker and have something prepared a little bit more, you can use paint or glitter in order to decorate your piñata. So I spoke with you about what's needed, and I explained how to create the base and gave you some decorating tips. It's pretty easy, so instead of doing traditional 8s, maybe you can try different assorted sizes of piñatas. Like I said, there's the smaller one here, and you can get different size balloons to blow them up and make them all different sizes, and it's a lot of fun to do. So, who's ready to crack this egg open? Thank you guys all for your time.